The chandelier cast a warm glow over the dining room, its crystals refracting light onto the mahogany table. The air smelled of lavender and roast chicken, a scent that once meant home but now felt like a lie. I stood by the window, arms crossed, watching my father, Roland, adjust his tie at the head of the table. His new wife, Sabine, fluttered around, arranging lilies in a crystal vase, her pastel dress screaming money. Her son, Theo, sprawled in a chair, scrolling his phone with that lazy smirk I'd grown to despise. It was a family dinner, or so I'd thought. 3 years of my life poured into Roland's company, late nights, canceled plans, every contract memorized, had led to this moment. He'd promised me the reins one day, his little Laurel taking over Pierce Innovations. I'd believed him. Foolish me. "Everyone sit," Roland said, his voice deep and commanding, the tone I'd once idolized. Sabine perched beside him, her smile too bright, too rehearsed. Theo tossed his phone aside, stretching like a cat who'd already won. I sank into my chair, my stomach twisting. "I've got news," Roland said, clearing his throat. His eyes flicked to Sabine, who nodded like they'd scripted this. "After careful thought, I've decided to leave the majority stake and control of the company to Theo." The words hit like a fist. My grip tightened on the chair, the wood biting into my palms. "What?" I whispered, barely audible over the hum of the air conditioning. "It's perfect," Sabine chirped, patting Theo's shoulder. "He's got fresh ideas, exactly what we need." Theo grinned, leaning back. "Don't worry, Laurel. I'll keep you around, maybe in accounting or something." I stared at Roland, my voice cracking. "Dad, we talked about this. I've been there 3 years. I've got an MBA. I know the business inside out." "Laurel, please," he said, raising a hand. "This wasn't easy. Theo's vision aligns with our future." "Vision?" I laughed, sharp and bitter. "He's 23, never worked a day in his life. He can't even spell profit." "Hey," Theo snapped, standing. "I've got ideas. You're just mad you're not the favorite anymore." "Enough," Roland barked, his tone final. "Theo takes over next month. You'll stay on salary, Laurel, but it's decided." "Next month?" The room spun. "You planned this without me?" "The papers are in motion," he said, finally meeting my eyes. "I'm sorry if this upsets you, but it's best." "For who?" I stood, legs shaking, grabbing my bag so fast I nearly knocked over a glass. "Family." Funny, I thought I was part of it. "Laurel, don't be dramatic," Sabine called as I stormed to the door. "This is why we needed someone steadier." Paused, turning back. "Dad." He stared at the table, silent. "Fine. We're done." The door slammed behind me, a gunshot in the quiet night. In my car, I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles ached, tears spilling hot and wild. My phone buzzed, my best friend, Elise. "How'd it go?" I typed, vision blurring. "He gave it all to Theo. Everything I worked for." Her reply was instant. "I'm coming. Don't do anything stupid." As I drove off, I saw Roland at the window, Sabine beside him. He turned away. 3 years, every sacrifice, every sleepless night, handed to Theo on a silver platter. But this wasn't the end. The real truth would come out and I'd make them pay. The rain tapped my windshield as I parked outside my apartment, its steady rhythm a counterpoint to the storm inside me. Elise's car pulled up minutes later, her headlights cutting through the dark. I sat there, hands still on the wheel, the betrayal replaying like a broken record. Roland's words, Theo's vision, echoed, each syllable a knife. Elise knocked on my window, her dark hair plastered to her face. "Laurel, get out here." I opened the door, the cold biting my skin. "He gave it to Theo," I said, my voice hollow. "Everything." She pulled me into a hug, rain soaking us both. That bastard. After all you've done? We stumbled inside, dripping onto the hardwood. I sank onto the couch, staring at my framed MBA on the wall. A promise turned to ash. 3 years, I said. I built that company with him. And he hands it to a kid who's never even seen The Office. Elise paced, furious. Sabine's behind this. She's been whispering in his ear since they married. Maybe, I said, rubbing my temples. But he chose it. He looked me in the eye and chose Theo. She stopped, hands on hips. What now? I don't know, I said. I walked out. Told him we're done. Good, she said, sitting beside me. But you can't let this go. You deserve more. I stared at the ceiling, memories flooding back. 25, I joined Pierce Innovations, fresh from grad school, eager to prove myself. Roland had clapped me on the shoulder, said, "One day, this'll be yours." I'd worked weekends, learned every supplier, every client, while Theo partied and Sabine redecorated the house with Roland's money. Now it was theirs. He didn't even flinch, I said. Just sat there while Sabine and Theo smirked. Elise's eyes narrowed. They think you'll take it lying down. Prove them wrong. How? I asked, my voice breaking. It's his company. His call. She leaned closer. You know that business better than anyone. There's something you can use, something they've missed. I went quiet, her words sinking in. She was right. I'd been too deep in it, every deal, every secret. Roland wasn't flawless, neither was Theo. Sabine might have orchestrated this, but I'd find the cracks. My phone buzzed, Roland. I ignored it, letting it ring out. He'll call again, I said. Act like nothing's wrong. Don't answer, Elise said. Make him sweat. I nodded, a spark igniting. This wasn't just about walking away. It was about fighting back. 3 years of my life, stolen by a woman who'd waltzed in and a boy who'd never earned it. They'd underestimated me, thought I'd fade into silence. But silence was my weapon now. I need time, I said. To think. To plan. Take it, she said. But don't let them win. She left, promising to check in. Alone, I opened my laptop, pulling up old company files I'd backed up, contracts, emails, notes. Something was there, buried in the data. Roland thought I'd stay quiet, Sabine thought I'd crumble, Theo thought I'd bow. They were wrong. The rain slowed, a hush settling over the room. I poured a glass of water, its coolness steadying me. This wasn't the end, it was the beginning. The truth would come out, not at their table, but somewhere they couldn't ignore. An avocat's office, maybe. And when it did, they'd see what I was capable of. I whispered to the empty room, "You'll regret this." The game had just started, and I'd played to win. Morning light filtered through my blinds, weak and gray, mirroring the ache in my chest. I hadn't slept. Roland's betrayal looped in my mind, Sabine's smug smile a taunt I couldn't shake. The apartment smelled of stale coffee, the mug from last night still on the table. I sat there, laptop open, scrolling through years of Pierce Innovations files. Every line of text was a memory, every late night, every triumph now handed to Theo. My phone buzzed again, Roland, third time since dawn. "Laurel, call me," his voicemail said, his voice clipped, impatient. I deleted it. I let him wait. He'd waited 3 years to stab me in the back. He could handle a day of silence. Elise texted, "Found anything yet?" "Not sure," I replied. Digging. I opened an email from 2 years ago, Roland to a supplier, vague about a payment delay. Another to Theo's college buddy Jasper about future opportunities. Nothing concrete, but seeds of doubt sprouted. Roland wasn't perfect. He cut corners, played favorites. Theo was worse, clueless, reckless. Sabine had pushed this, but I'd pull it apart. The doorbell rang, sharp and insistent. I opened it to find Sabine, her blonde hair perfect, a fake smile plastered on her face. "Laurel," she said, stepping inside uninvited. "We need to talk." I crossed my arms. "About what?" "How you stole my future," she sighed, dramatic and rehearsed. "Don't be childish." Roland made a tough call. "Theo's ready to lead." "Ready?" I laughed, cold and sharp. "He's a kid who can't tie his shoes without you." Her smile tightened. "He's innovative. You're stuck in the past, Laurel." "That's why Roland chose him." "Chose him?" I stepped closer. "I ran that company while you redecorated his life." 3 years, Sabine." "Where was Theo?" "Learning," she said, unfazed. "He's got vision." "Vision," I echoed, bitter. "You mean your vision?" You whispered in his ear and he swallowed it. She shrugged, adjusting her scarf. "Roland agrees." "You're still on payroll, be grateful." "Grateful?" My voice rose. "For scraps?" "After I built it?" "Laurel," she said, her tone patronizing, "you're emotional." "Take some time. You'll see it's best." "Get out," I said, pointing to the door. She left, her heels clicking a smug retreat. I slammed the door, my hands shaking. Emotional? I'd show her emotional. She thought I'd roll over, take the crumbs. She didn't know me. I returned to the laptop, fury fueling me. A file caught my eye, last year's audit, buried in a subfolder. Discrepancies in expense reports signed by Roland. Small but sloppy. Theo's name popped up too, a consulting fee for a project he'd never touched. My pulse quickened. This was something. Not enough yet, but a thread to pull. My phone buzzed, Elise again. Sabine just left Roland's place. Looked smug. "She was here," I texted. "Told me to be grateful." "Bitch," she replied. "What's the plan?" "Finding dirt," I wrote. "They've messed up somewhere." I poured more coffee, the bitterness matching my mood. Sabine's visit wasn't just a taunt, it was a mistake. She'd lit a fire. Roland thought I'd fade, Theo thought I'd bow, Sabine thought I'd break. But I'd been the spine of that company. I knew its bones. Truth was out there, in the numbers, in the lies. An avocat's office would reveal it, not their dining room, not their rules. I'd make them regret this, not with tears, but with their own wreckage. I whispered, "Watch me rise." The game was on, and I'd play it smarter. The apartment was a cave of shadows, the only light from my laptop screen. It was past midnight, coffee cold in my mug, but sleep was a stranger. I'd found it, the audit file, a crack in Roland's perfect facade. Expense reports with Theo's name, payments for consulting he'd never done. Thousands funneled to a ghost project signed by Roland. Sloppy, arrogant, and mine to use. I leaned back, the couch creaking under me. 3 years at Pierce Innovations, I'd seen the books, balanced them, caught errors Roland missed. He'd praised me then, called me the future. Now he'd traded me for Sabine's brat. But this ledger was my lifeline, proof they weren't untouchable. My phone buzzed, Elise. "Anything yet?" "Yes," I texted, fingers flying. "Fraud. Theo's name on fake payments." "Holy shit," she replied. "What's the move?" "Dig deeper," I wrote. "Then strike." I opened another file, emails between Roland and Jasper, Theo's friend. Set him up with something Roland had written. "He's family now." Jasper's reply, "Consulting gig works. Easy cash." My stomach turned. They'd built Theo a throne from my sweat, padded it with lies. The doorbell jolted me. I checked the clock, 1 a.m. Through the peephole, Roland stood, his face drawn. I opened the door, arms crossed. "What do you want?" "Laurel," he said, stepping inside. "We need to talk." "Too late," I said. "You made your choice." He rubbed his face, tired. "I didn't want this fight." Theo's young, eager. "Sabine convinced me." "Sabine," I cut in, voice sharp. "She's not family." "I am. Or was." "You still are," he said, pleading. "You're on payroll." "It's not personal." "Not personal?" I laughed, bitter. 3 years, Dad. I gave you everything. And you gave it to him. He's got ideas, he said weakly. You're too rigid. Rigid? I stepped closer. I saved your ass, fixed your mistakes, kept the lights on. Theo's a parasite. Laurel, stop, he said, voice hardening. It's done. Accept it. No, I said, holding his gaze. You'll see what I can do. He stared, then turned away. I'm sorry you feel this way. Feel? I snapped. I don't feel. I know. He left, the door clicking shut. I stood there, trembling, his apology a hollow echo. Sorry didn't erase the betrayal. Sorry didn't give me back my life. I returned to the laptop, the ledger glowing. This wasn't just about Theo's fake gig, it was Roland's signature, his negligence. He'd buried it, thinking I'd never look. But I'd been the one who'd filed it, who'd seen the red flags he ignored. My phone buzzed, Elise again. He was here. Yes, I texted. Tried to smooth it over. Didn't work. Good, she replied. Use that ledger. Burn them. I nodded to the empty room. Burn them. Not with fire, but with truth. I copied the files to a USB, insurance leverage. Roland thought I'd fade, Sabine thought I'd bow, Theo thought I'd vanish. They'd built this on my back, and I'd tear it down with their own hands. Clock ticked toward 2 a.m. I poured fresh coffee, its heat a jolt to my resolve. The avocate's office loomed in my mind, not their turf, but mine. The real truth was here in these numbers, and I'd wield it like a blade. I whispered, You've underestimated me for the last time. The night stretched on, and I dug deeper. This was my fight, and I'd win it my way. The morning was a blur of gray, rain streaking the windows as I sat at my kitchen table. The USB drive lay beside my laptop, its contents a ticking bomb, Theo's fake payments, Roland's sloppy cover-up. I'd spent hours cross-referencing, building a case. It wasn't enough to hurt them, I needed to destroy what they'd stolen. My phone buzzed, Elise. Coffee? I'm outside. I let her in, her umbrella dripping on the floor. She set 2 steaming cups down, her eyes sharp. You look like hell, she said. Feel like it, I replied, sipping the coffee. But I've got something. She leaned in. Show me. I opened the laptop, pulling up the ledger. Theo's consulting, thousands for nothing. Roland signed off. It's fraud. Her eyes widened. This is gold, Laurel. What's the plan? Expose it, I said. But I need help. Legal help? She grinned. I know someone. Finn, my cousin. He's an advocate, specializes in corporate law. Hates assholes like Roland. Call him, I said, a spark igniting. She dialed, putting it on speaker. A gruff voice answered. Elise, what's up? Finn, she said, my friend Laurel needs you. Her dad screwed her over, gave their company to his stepson. She's got dirt. Dirt? Finn asked, intrigued. What kind? Fraud, I said, leaning closer. Fake payments covered up by my father. I've got proof. He whistled. That's a case. Can you come in today? Yes, I said, heart racing. When? Noon, he replied. Bring everything. Elise hung up, grinning. Told you. Finn's a shark. I nodded, adrenaline surging. This was it, the shift from victim to victor. Roland thought I'd sulk, Sabine thought I'd break, Theo thought I'd vanish. But Finn's office would be their reckoning. The doorbell rang, sharp and unwelcome. I opened it. Theo, his leather jacket slick with rain, that smirk plastered on. Laurel, he said, stepping inside. We need to clear the air. No, I said, blocking him. Get out. He laughed, casual. Come on, sis. I'm CEO now. Let's play nice. Sis, I snapped. You're a leech. I built that company, you stole it. His smirk faded. Roland chose me. Deal with it. Roland's a fool, I said. And you're a fraud. I've got proof. He froze, eyes narrowing. What proof? You'll see, I said, shoving him back. Now leave. He stumbled out, muttering, You're done, Laurel. I slammed the door, my hands shaking. Done? He had no idea. I turned to Elise. He's scared. Good, she said. Let him squirm. I packed the USB, my laptop, every scrap of evidence. Finn's office was my battlefield now. Theo's visit wasn't just arrogance, it was fear. He knew I had something, even if he didn't know what. Elise drove us, the wipers slashing rain. You're sure about this? She asked. Yes, I said. They took everything. I'm taking it back. She nodded, fierce. You're a badass, Laurel. No, I said. I'm just awake. We pulled up to Finn's building, a squat brick structure. I clutched my bag, the weight of 3 years in my hands. Roland's promises, Sabine's scheming, Theo's laziness, they'd built this betrayal. But I'd built the company and I'd unbuild their lie. Inside, Finn waited, tall, grizzled, his handshake firm. Laurel, he said, let's see what you've got. I set the USB on his desk. Everything, I said. And I want them to pay. He grinned. Oh, they will. The real truth was coming, and I'd be the one to wield it. Finn's office smelled of leather and old paper, a sanctuary of order amid my chaos. He sat behind a cluttered desk, his gray eyes scanning the files I'd handed over, the USB, printouts, my notes. I stood by the window, rain streaking the glass, while Elise paced, her energy a live wire. This is dynamite, Finn said, tapping the ledger. Fake payments to Theo, signed by Roland. Sloppy as hell. Can we use it? I asked, turning to him. Use it? He grinned, sharp and predatory. We can bury them. Fraud, breach of fiduciary duty. Pierce Innovations could collapse under this. My chest tightened, a mix of triumph and dread. I don't want it to collapse, I said. I built it. I just want what's mine. Finn leaned back, thoughtful. Fair. We can push for control, prove you're the rightful successor. This evidence shows Roland's unfit, Theo's a puppet. Elise stopped pacing. What about Sabine? She's not on paper, Finn said. But she's the puppet master. We'll expose her influence. I nodded, resolve hardening. Do it. He pulled out a legal pad, scribbling. I'll draft a claim, demand a board review, freeze the transfer. We'll hit them fast before Theo's CEO gig sticks. How long? I asked. Days, he said. I'll file tomorrow. You ready for the fallout? Yes, I said, meeting his gaze. They've underestimated me too long. Back home, the apartment felt different, less a refuge, more a war room. I sat at the table, replaying Finn's words. Control. Not just revenge, but reclamation. 3 years of my life, stolen by Sabine's whispers and Roland's weakness. Theo was a symptom, they were the disease. My phone buzzed, Roland again. Laurel, we need to meet. Sabine's upset. I laughed, deleting it. Upset? Good. Let her feel the heat. The doorbell rang, loud and insistent. I opened it, Sabine, her face pale, eyes blazing. Laurel, she snapped. What are you doing? Roland's a mess. Me, I said, blocking the door. You took everything. Now you're scared. She stepped closer, voice low. Drop this tantrum. Theo's in charge. Accept it. Tantrum. I laughed, cold and sharp. I've got proof, fraud, lies. Your golden boy's a fake. Her eyes widened, a flicker of fear. You're bluffing. Try me, I said. It's coming, Sabine. And you can't stop it. She turned, heels clicking as she fled. I shut the door, my pulse racing. Fear. I'd seen it in her. They weren't invincible. Elise texted. Finn says papers are ready. Tomorrow's the day. Good, I replied. They're rattled. I poured a glass of wine, its ruby glow a quiet celebration. This wasn't just about the company, it was my worth, carved from their betrayal. Roland's promises, Sabine's scheming, Theo's smirk. I'd turn it all against them. The rain slowed, a hush settling. I stood by the window, watching the street. Finn's gambit was my sword, the avocate's office my arena. The real truth was here, Theo's fraud, Roland's failure, and I'd wield it to take back what was mine. My phone buzzed, Theo. Back off, Laurel. You'll regret this. I smiled, typing, too late. See you in court. He didn't reply. Good. Let him sweat. They'd thought me a shadow, a worker bee to prop up their hive. But I'd been the architect, and I'd unbuild their lie. I raised my glass to the empty room. To Laurel, I said. The one they forgot. The fight was on, and I'd win it my way. The boardroom smelled of polished wood and tension, a battlefield dressed in suits. I sat at the far end, Finn beside me, his briefcase open, papers, the USB, my arsenal. Across the table, Roland glowered, Sabine whispering in his ear, Theo slouched with that smug grin. The board, 5 gray-haired men and 1 sharp-eyed woman, watched, their faces unreadable. Finn had forced this emergency meeting, the fraud claim a thunderclap they couldn't ignore. Miss Pierce, the chair, Mr. Grayson began, you've made serious allegations. Present your case. Finn stood, calm and lethal. Laurel Pierce built this company over 3 years. Roland promised her succession, then gave it to Theo Voss, Sabine's son, with no experience. Worse, we have evidence of fraud. He slid the ledger across the table. Fake payments to Theo, signed by Roland. Thousands misappropriated. Roland's face reddened. That's nonsense. Laurel's upset, she's twisting things. Twisting, I said, standing. I've got emails, records, your signature. Theo's never stepped foot in the office. Theo smirked. I've got ideas, Laurel. You're just jealous. Ideas? I laughed, sharp. You're a fraud. I ran this place, you partied. Enough, Grayson snapped. Mr. Pierce, explain these payments. Roland fumbled, glancing at Sabine. They're consulting fees. Theo advised on. On what? Finn cut in, tossing emails to the board. Here's Roland to Jasper Kane. Set Theo up with something. No work, just cash. That's theft. Sabine stood, voice shrill. This is a family matter. Laurel's spiteful. No, I said, locking eyes with her. You stole my future. I'm taking it back, the board murmured, flipping through the evidence. Grayson's jaw tightened. Roland, this looks bad. It's a misunderstanding, Roland said, sweating. Laurel's still on payroll. Payroll? I snapped. I built this company. 3 years, every deal, every fix. You promised me the reins, then gave it to him. Theo leaned forward. Get over it, Laurel. I'm CEO now. Not for long, Finn said, pulling out a recorder. He played it, Roland's voice. Keep it quiet. Theo needs a title. The room froze, the board's eyes narrowing. Where'd you get that? Roland barked. From me, I said. You thought I wouldn't listen. I did. Grayson stood. We'll review this. Theo's appointment is on hold. Roland, step aside pending investigation. You can't, Sabine shrieked. He's the founder. And he's compromised, Grayson said. Meeting adjourned. They filed out, Roland's face ashen, Sabine glaring, Theo stunned. Finn packed up, grinning. Round 1, Laurel. They're shaken. I nodded, adrenaline buzzing. It's not over. Back home I paced, replaying it. Roland's excuses, Sabine's panic, Theo's smirk crumbling. They'd underestimated me, thought I'd fade. But I'd been the spine of Pierce Innovations, and I'd exposed their rot. My phone buzzed, Elise. Heard it went big. You okay? Yes, I texted. They're on the ropes. Good, she replied. Finish them. I poured a glass of water, its coolness grounding me. This wasn't just revenge, it was my worth, proven in their chaos. The boardroom was my stage, the avocates evidenced my script. The real truth had landed, and they couldn't bury it. Roland called, his voice weak. Laurel, stop this. We can fix it. No, I said. You fixed me out. Now I'm fixing you. I hung up, a weight lifting. They'd built this betrayal on my back, but I'd turn it against them. The fight wasn't done, but I'd struck first. I whispered, you'll see me now. The storm was mine, and I'd ride it to victory. The apartment was quiet, the hum of the fridge a steady pulse as I sat at my table. The board's decision lingered like smoke. Theo's CEO gig frozen, Roland sidelined. Finn's evidence had cracked their armor, but they'd fight back. I knew it. My laptop glowed, the ledger and emails a map of their ruin. I'd struck, but I needed more to finish it. Elise arrived, her knock sharp. Details, she demanded, dropping onto the couch. How'd it go? They're reeling, I said, pouring coffee. The board saw the fraud. Roland's out, Theo stalled. She grinned. Sabine. Furious, I said. Tried to play the family card. Didn't work. Good, she said, sipping. What's next? Finn's pushing the claim, I said. I want control my place, not theirs. She nodded, fierce. You deserve it. They've screwed you long enough. I stared at the USB, its weight a promise. 3 years, every late night, every deal, stolen by Sabine's ambition and Roland's weakness. Theo was a pawn, but they were the players. I'd been their shadow, and now I'd eclipse them. The doorbell rang, harsh and sudden. I opened it, Roland, his face gaunt, eyes red. Laurel, he said, voice breaking, please stop. Stop. I laughed, cold. You stopped me first. Gave it all to Theo. He stepped inside, pleading. I made a mistake. Sabine pushed me. I didn't see. I cut in. You saw me every day. I built that company. You promised me. I know, he said, hands trembling. I'll fix it. Step down, give it to you. Too late, I said. You signed the papers. The board knows. Laurel, he begged, dropping to his knees, don't destroy us. Us, I said, towering over him. There's no us. You chose them. He sobbed, head in his hands. I felt nothing, no pity, no guilt. He'd chosen Sabine's whispers over my work, Theo's laziness over my loyalty. This was his doing. Get out, I said. He stumbled away, the door clicking shut. Elise whistled. He's broken. Not enough, I said. Sabine's still standing. Theo too. My phone buzzed. Finn. Board's leaning your way. Sabine's digging though, watch out. Thanks, I texted. Keep pushing. I sat, coffee cooling. Sabine wouldn't quit, she'd claw back control, prop Theo up. But the cracks were widening. Roland's collapse was a start, the board's doubt was my wedge. I pry it open, take what was mine. A memory hit, 2 years ago, Roland handing me a bonus saying, You're my rock, Laurel. I'd glowed, worked harder. Now that rock was his ruin. Sabine had twisted him, Theo had coasted, but I'd been the foundation. They'd pay for forgetting that. Elise watched me. You're scary when you're mad. No, I said. I'm done being invisible. She grinned. They'll wish they'd seen you. I poured more coffee, its bitterness a match for my mood. The avocate's office had been the spark. Finn's claim my evidence, but the fire was mine. Roland's tears, Sabine's panic, Theo's stalled crown, they'd feel it all. My phone buzzed, Sabine. Back off, Laurel. You'll lose everything. I smiled, typing. Look who's losing now. No reply. Perfect. Let her stew. They'd built this on my back, thinking I'd carry it forever. But I'd drop it on their heads. I raised my mug. To Laurel, I whispered. The one they ignored. The fight wasn't over, but I'd widened the cracks. The end was coming, and I'd be standing when it did. The board's final meeting loomed, a storm cloud over the city. Finn had called. My claim was solid, the fraud undeniable. I stood in my apartment, dressed in black, the USB in my pocket like a talisman. 3 years of my life hung on this. Roland's betrayal, Sabine's scheming, Theo's theft. Today I'd take it back. Elise drove me, her silence fierce. You've got this, she said, parking outside Pierce Innovations. Yes, I said, stepping out. They're done. The boardroom was a furnace of tension. Roland sat, head bowed, Sabine beside him, her face a mask of fury. Theo slouched, eyes darting. The board watched, Grayson at the head, my evidence spread before them. Finn stood beside me, his presence a shield. Miss Pierce, Grayson began, your claim's been reviewed. Speak. I stepped forward, voice steady. 3 years ago, I joined this company. I built it, every contract, every fix. Roland promised me succession. Instead, he gave it to Theo, Sabine's son, who's never worked a day. Worse, they hid fraud. Fake payments signed by Roland to prop Theo up. I've got proof. Finn slid the ledger forward, the recorder playing Roland's voice. Keep it quiet. Theo needs a title. Gasps rippled through the room. Roland stood, voice weak. Laurel, I've said I'm sorry. Sorry? Cut in sharp. You stole my future. I built this, not him. Sabine leapt up. She's lying. This is revenge. No, Finn said, tossing emails to the board. Here's Roland to Jasper Kane, set Theo up. It's fraud and you pushed it. Theo smirked. She's jealous. I'm the future. Future. I laughed. You're a leech. I ran this place, you coasted. Grayson raised a hand. Enough. The evidence is clear. Roland, you're removed as chairman. Theo's appointment is void. Ms. Pierce, control reverts to you pending review. Sabine shrieked. You can't. He founded this. And he ruined it, Grayson said. Sit down. Roland sank, Sabine trembling, Theo pale. I stood tall, the weight of 3 years lifting. Finn grinned. Told you, Laurel. They're done. Back home, I paced, adrenaline fading to triumph. The boardroom had been my crucible, Roland's collapse, Sabine's rage, Theo's fall. They'd underestimated me, thought I'd fade. But I'd been the heart of Pierce Innovations, and I'd reclaimed it. My phone buzzed, Elise. You won! Yes, I texted. It's mine. Proud of you, she replied. Party tonight? Tomorrow, I wrote. I need this first. I poured a glass of wine, its glow a quiet victory. This wasn't just about the company, it was my worth, forged in their betrayal. Roland's promises, Sabine's whispers, Theo's smirk. I turned it all against them. The avocate's office had been the spark, but this was my fire. Roland called, voice broken. Laurel, you've destroyed us. No, I said. You destroyed me. I rebuilt. I hung up, a smile breaking free. They'd built this on my back, thinking I'd carry it. I dropped it on their heads. The doorbell rang, Sabine, her face haggard. Laurel, she said, please reconsider. No, I said, shutting the door. You're done. Her muffled pleas faded. I stood by the window, the city sprawling below. The final blow had landed. Roland out, Theo gone, Sabine powerless. I'd taken back what was mine, not with tears, but with their own lies. I raised my glass. To Laurel, I said. The one they couldn't break. The fight was over and I'd won. One last step remained, and it was all mine. The morning sun pierced the blinds, painting gold across my apartment. I stood in the living room, coffee in hand, the silence a hymn of victory. Pierce Innovations was mine again. Roland stripped, Sabine silenced, Theo erased. The board's ruling had been my dawn. 3 years of betrayal burned away in their own fire. I walked to my desk, the USB still there, a relic of the war I'd won. I didn't need it now, Finn had filed it, the board had acted. Roland's fraud, Theo's fake title, Sabine's scheming, all exposed in the avocate's office, all undone in the boardroom. I'd taken back what was mine, not with pleas, but with proof. Elise arrived, her knock bright. Laurel, she said, hugging me, you're a legend. No, I said, smiling. Just awake. She laughed, setting pastries on the table. CEO Laurel Pierce. Sounds right. It does, I said, sipping coffee. They thought I'd fade. I didn't. We sat, the city humming below. What now, she asked. Rebuild, I said. My way. No shadows. She nodded, fierce. They'll regret crossing you. They already do, I said. Roland's broken, Sabine's out, Theo's nothing. I'd seen it, Roland's tears, Sabine's panic, Theo's stunned silence. 3 years of my life, stolen by their greed, returned by my resolve. I'd been their worker bee, their silent spine. Now I was the queen, and they'd felt the sting. My phone buzzed, a text from Finn. Congrats, Laurel. Company's yours. Sabine's threatening a countersuit, laughable. We've got her. Good, I replied. Let her try. I set the phone down, a memory surfacing. Roland at my grad school graduation, proud, saying, You'll take it far, Laurel. I had. Not his way, but mine. Sabine had twisted him, Theo had coasted, but I'd built it. They'd pay for forgetting that. The doorbell rang, soft and hesitant. I opened it. Roland, his face sunken, eyes hollow. "Laurel," he said, voice weak, "can we talk?" "No," I said, steady. "You talked enough." Gave it all to Theo. "I was wrong," he said, trembling. "Sabine, I didn't see." "You saw me," I cut in. "Every day. And you chose them." "Please," he begged, "let me fix it." "Too late," I said. "I fixed it. Goodbye, Dad." I shut the door, his shadow lingering then fading. No pity stirred. He'd built this betrayal and I'd unbuilt it. Elise watched, quiet. "You okay?" "Yes," I said. "Free." She smiled. "You're unstoppable." "No," I said. "Just me." I walked to the window, the city alive below. Pierce Innovations waited, my company, my future. Roland's promises, Sabine's schemes, Theo's theft, ashes now. I'd risen from them, not with their help, but despite them. I poured more coffee, its warmth a quiet triumph. This wasn't just revenge, it was my worth, carved from their ruin. The avocate's office had been the spark, the boardroom the blaze. I'd taken back my life my way. My phone buzzed, Elise's photo of us captioned, "To the Queen." I laughed, raising my mug. "To Laurel," I whispered. "The one who stood." The day stretched ahead, mine to shape. I stepped onto the balcony, the air crisp, the world wide. 3 years of betrayal, of being ignored, had forged this moment. Roland was gone, Sabine powerless, Theo a ghost. But I stood, free of their weight. I sipped my coffee, its taste sharp and sweet. The fight was over and I'd won. A new dawn waited and I'd write it on my terms.